Okay, so good evening again to everyone, and welcome to this edition of the daily briefing. And as I said earlier, I'm very, very excited to be here this evening after having been present only sporadically over the last week. Um, I am a lot more relaxed because my power just came back, and uh, I am almost sure now that based on the schedule, it would only go again after midnight. So, um, but that notwithstanding, every part that we have missed, that I have missed particularly, I have taken the time to go back and listen and follow the engagement. Very, very interesting discussions, interesting questions coming from members of the community, and really, really exciting thoughts that have been expressed. Um, my you know the starting block for today, as I had indicated, we're just going to be introducing two really basic principles or topics that we would engage on in a lot more detail next week. But we thought it's a good follow up. It's a good follow up from the social income model and the refining of um, of our verbiage, of the language or the terminology that we use to explain what we do and what we are about. Because that social income model is fully linked to how we say who we are, or how we express who we are to someone who knows nothing about us. So that's why the follow up from the social income model, which we build together, and to the explanation of what we are doing, who we are. Um, it's fundamental. So we're going to take it just a little step further, just for further understanding, so that for people who do not really understand what the need for that is, um, it would be a lot more clearer when we get into it. And then we'll talk a bit about one or two of the tools that we're going to be introducing, um, which would be very, very valuable for every member of our community. Um, I want to take this opportunity to greet every leader, everyone who is here today. I acknowledge every one of you, and with all the global leaders of our movement who are in the house today. I think just for time's sake, um, just as we came in, I heard everyone's giving their good evenings and all of that. Um, I would suggest that we just go into the conversations. Good evening, Brother Servius. Um, we have chatted, but we have not spoken. Are you there? Your microphone is off. Okay. I don't think he can hear me. Good evening, Brother Patrick.
Good evening, sir. Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity. Greetings to our leaders, greetings to the team, greetings to the family. Dear brothers and sisters, it's good to be back here after the economic challenges that we are all facing in our different countries. I just want to take this opportunity to make a comment on one thing that keeps coming up in our tickets. It's about verification on Connect. And one of the brothers who has been raising tickets, I think I saw him now, but I can't see his name now. Nimrod, if you are listening, he says he's having problems with verification on Connect. The people he's registering have not received their verification emails. I think, Nimrod, you may have misunderstood what I shared with you on the ticket. My advice is, if someone says they have not received their verification email on Connect, what they need to do is to go to the Connect login page. Then when they go to the login page, they try to log in either using their username or their email address as you have registered them. When they click on login, because the email address has not yet been verified, the system will give a verification response to say you need to verify your email address by clicking on the link provided in that email. So now, if you are sure that you have not received that email, there should be an option right there that says resend email. So that's where you click to say the system must resend the email to you. That is how you initiate that a second email be sent to the person who has registered, so that they can click on the link and verify their email address. But at the same time, it is also at the same time, Nimrod, please note, it is also important to inform the people you register that sometimes the emails from Sweeping, they are to be found in the spam or promotions folders. This afternoon, I actually received a message from one user saying, we are having problems because all the emails from Sweeping, we are only finding them in spam. I said, yes, it happens because of settings within your mailbox. But at least if you find them, that's good. Then you just have to click on the link. So Nimrod, please, or even anyone who's having problems with verification on Connect, please make sure the people you register, they need to check their spam, they need to check their promotions folders, search within their mailbox, or even type and search in your mailbox. You type and search Sweeping or Sweeping Connect. I think for now, that's all I will share. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Good evening. Sorry,
Thank you
my
so much.
mic was muted and I couldn't unmute it. But good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone, where you're connecting from. It's nice to be here. Thank you.
Great. Good evening, Brother Servius. Good evening. I had suspected your mic had frozen, or your device had frozen.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Here again. Good evening, Sister Lumba.
Good evening, Brother Mbi. Good evening, Dr. Linus, Chief Servius, my brothers and sisters, Brother Patrick, Sister Pauline, and everybody in the house. It's lovely to be here again with everyone. We're looking forward to good discussions every day. Yeah, let's hear what the questions will be today. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Sister Pauline.
Oh, that was Sister Lumba.
Thank you so much, Sister Lumba.
You're welcome. Maybe
Sorry.
we sound alike now.
Okay. Okay, Sister Pauline, your mic is open. You have the floor.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, Brother Ambi. Greetings and welcome, our leaders, Dr. Linus, Chief Serviers, Brother Ambi, Brother Patrick, Sister Lumba, Sister Audrey, each and every one of my brothers and sisters at home and abroad. Just welcome to another day of educational topics, and I'm sure we will all go away with something. I just want to quickly elaborate on what Brother Patrick was saying. Once you have gone to your junk box and you see anything from Swifting in there, or that goes for any other person that sent you an email, if you no longer want that to go into your junk box, there is an option that you can click to say not junk, yeah, or not spam. If you click on that, then future emails that come to you will automatically go in your primary box or your inbox. So it's just that something to be mindful of. Anything that comes in your junk box and you don't want it to go there anymore, you want it to come into your mailbox, there is an option that you can click on there and say not junk, and it will start to go to your main email box. But on that note, thank you, Brother Ambi, and the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much. One of the things that, I'm not sure why people are still getting their mails on, in their spam.
It's because it's because they haven't told the system this is not spam mail.
Yeah. So on our side, we had some incidents. We had shared that during these meetings about a month or 2 months ago. And we went through a whitelisting process, which makes sure that every mail that comes from the system gets delivered in the inbox and not into spam. So we may also just go back and just look again to see if anything has changed. But I'm certain that nothing has changed. We will see. But as Sister Pauline has mentioned, everyone should make sure that you also do that on your side to make sure that you don't have those kind of issues coming up. So before I bring in Dr. Linus, I'm just going to introduce briefly one of the topics which we are going to deal with in a lot more detail next week, which is, we showed or we built the social income model together, right? For somebody who does not understand, they could just see each of the dots in the model just as people. But when we start linking what the one person has done with what a second person has done, we start building an economy. So what Brother Patrick has as his people that he has brought to the system, and they are building their own web, and what I have brought into the system as my own people, and we are building our own web. When that connects, it becomes an economy. Yeah. So there is the social income that comes from the social economy that we build. So I think just before we get to that, I will just go into, let me just give a standard definition for economics, because when we talk about an economy, it comes from economics. What is economics in the first place? Economics is a science in fact, a social science that focuses on production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services, and analyzes the choices that individuals, businesses, governments, and nations make to allocate resources. Okay, so the decisions in production, in distribution, in consumption of goods and services, and analyzing the choices that individuals, businesses, governments, and nations make in allocating resources. Right? So,
okay.
So within a country, within a community, people make a decision how the production, the distribution, and the consumption of goods and services is going to take place. In the present economic system, that production, distribution, consumption of goods and services is created by either an individual, a business, a government, or nations, and they determine how you as an individual would consume the goods and services they are making available. But then there is a new economy. There's a new economic model that is becoming the most, I would say, the preferred economic model for the present day human. I spoke about some of it the other day during one of our meetings, where I spoke about prosumers. So in the standard economic model, the individual or the business or the government are producers or consumers. But in the new economy, which is actually the social economy, every individual is a producer and a consumer. So when we look at that framework, that maybe I should share my screen. This framework. Can you see my screen? No. Let's see.
It's coming up.
When we look at this framework, the old economic model is that on this side, on the sides of this community, of these people, all these people in here, there is a production, there is a distribution, and then that distribution brings goods and services into this community, into this population, for them to consume only. And then individuals within this community can also step out from the community, also produce and bring into the community for everyone within the community to only consume. But the new economy, what this new economy is showing us now is that when the production, the distribution, and the consumption of the products and services is done by every single individual in the community. The production, the distribution, and the consumption of goods and services is done felt by every single individual in this community. I'll give you an example. We are talking now about the issues we are having with power on the continent at the moment, especially in the recent past. What used to happen traditionally is that we would have a power utility company, which is what we have now, and that power utility company would produce power and then distribute the power, and every one of us would link up to that network, pay for that product to be able to have electricity or to be able to have power. But now in the new social economy, what is happening is that people are now creating microgrids in their homes and sharing it with their neighbor. People are now putting up solar panels or coming together as a community like this one and say, you know what, the power utility is failing us. Let's put up a solar plant or some kind of unit in our community and provide ourselves with power right in here. Let's get together, contribute money, and do that. And that's what is happening. And it's going to happen even more going into the future. The question people would now start asking is, what happens to the utility company? I'll give you a very, very important information, which I'm not sure a lot of our people on the continent, especially the people who are making decisions, are actually aware of. In countries like Germany, the national utility has changed its business completely because there are community grids, there are microgrids, there are home grids, and everyone is creating power in small poles, which has knocked out the main utility company, and they have now gone into services. They are now providing all other kinds of services, which 20 years ago, they were not even looking at. So for those of us who are on the continent, who are in this community, in the diaspora, we have to also start thinking about community economics. And it goes in every single product and service that we have. Every single product and service. And if we as a community, we as a people, we are not thinking about community economics, we are not thinking about producing, distributing, and consuming as a people, first as individuals, and then as a community like the community we have, then we will be completely lost in the new economy. So we are going to go a little bit into this, and we'll share a little bit of data about what is happening and where we can start already moving into this community economics within our community and also expanding it. It would make a lot more sense when we focus on the model as we have it here and build it from the model that we have here. Bearing in mind that every single individual, every single dot here that represents an individual is a producer, it's a producer, it's a distributor, and a consumer of goods and services. So what is stopping every member in this community to start producing, to start distributing, and to start consuming from this community? That's where I'm going to end this particular phase of it. And when we come into it next week, we'll go into a little bit more details with clear numbers, products and services, where everyone within the community who knows or who has products and services that could become socially accepted products and services, we should start moving the reflection towards that direction. The second element we wanted to talk about today was about training. And I'm going to, allow Dr. Linus to come in and have a bit of a say on what I just presented and then go into the training bit. But what, as a community, you would have noticed is that in a number of the communities, we've started training, agent training for different countries. And for some countries, we are even almost through with the training program. And we have been talking about the fact that we are trying to put together a tool where we can, it's not just about the courses that we are putting in place internally for the platform, but it's every other skilled person who has a course, who has a program that they think that members of this community can benefit from, to be able to place their courses in that tool and make it available to everyone. And that is what we are talking about: production, distribution, and consumption. Dr. Linus.
Thank you very much, Brother B. That's extremely clear, very, very clear. Now, I'll tell you something that has always puzzled me before we even came up with this, what we now call the social income model that has been fully implemented within our system. And it's in its full complexity with all the permutations that you can think of. It's done. But before we embarked on that, and I'm sure Brother B, I've mentioned this to you many times, mentioned to Brother Sevius, that one of the things that kept me puzzled, a long time ago. Ironically, I mean, if you go into Facebook, I do have an account on Facebook, which I don't go into I don't visit, I haven't visited Facebook for a long time. I should more often, given what we are doing and given the fact that we are leveraging on this whole concept of a social economy and how we can bring it home for everybody. But I'll tell you what always puzzled me, because I observed young people, or people of all ages, who would pick up their phone, whether they are on the train, whether they are at the dinner table, whether they are at a restaurant, whether they are on a bus, wherever they are, and having a conversation with the person next to you is not an option. No, you've got to go and have a conversation with somebody who is miles away. That person is more interesting at that particular time. And you're so glued onto your phone. And this is something we all do, but it's an observation. And one of the things that got me really, really seriously thinking was that obviously people spend a lot of time on Facebook or TikTok or all these other social media. They spend a lot of time. And so it's time. And if you really think about it, time is one of the most important assets that we all have. Time is one of the most important assets that we all have, that you don't need money to buy it. It's given to you completely free of charge by our almighty creator. And the same amount in a day is given to somebody in the United States. The same amount in a day is given to somebody in Europe. The same amount in a day is given to somebody in all the countries within continental Africa. And that amount is very well known. It's 24 hours. And in that 24 hours, we all know conventional wisdom says that you should use some of that time to pray to the Almighty God. You should use some of that time to do good for your neighbor and for your community and for yourself. You should use some of that time to play and enjoy yourself and have fun, and all that. But I never stopped being puzzled at the fact that, okay, a vast majority of people have taken to spending quite a very large percentage of that time on, say, Facebook, and they get nothing in return for it. I mean, I was very puzzled by that. And it's something that has kept me puzzled for a long time. Because what's happening is, if you look at that dynamic, you are actually producing a product that Facebook is selling to the big players, the big companies, the advertisers. And that product is partly your time and partly your interests in terms of what you will go on to consume or buy from somebody else. And so all the sellers of these products are really fighting for your time and for your attention, so that at some point you could move and actually go and execute a trade with one of them. And they are prepared to pay big dollar for it to Facebook, so that Facebook can put them in front of you, and you can subsequently then go and spend that money that you have. So there are two things. First, you're using your time. You're sitting in front of this screen. Fair enough, you're chatting with friends and you're doing some useful stuff, and you are applying your time. But somebody else that you are not working for is the one making the money. But the way they're making the money is they are pushing a product to you that you need to go and spend your money on. Follow the logic. So if you think in fundamental terms, and this is some of the things we started doing recently, like building the social income model, like looking at the terminology that we have. And one of the things we said in yesterday's session was that if you think in terms of exchanging value, you need to think in terms of a common standard. If you think in terms of exchanging value, you need to think in terms of what is fair. What is a fair exchange? And we all know that if the exchange is not fair, it wouldn't carry on forever. I'm not saying that the model of advertising in today's social media environments is flawed, but it probably was flawed, and it is changing. I'm sure you can see that it's changing. So it's moving in a different direction than what it started with. But I am saying that in order to reemphasize on the point that Brother B makes, that we are prosumers, that each and every one of us is producing something. And it's about having the clarity of thought and the opportunity and the systems and structures in place to actually, one, find a mechanism or way of monetizing what we're producing. For example. And so we're not saying that we have the answers, no, but we're just saying that let's think critically. Let's look at these things more critically. Let's stop. Let's pause for a minute, and we take a look at it. And so, but I can tell you for sure that that was the thinking that led us to come up with the social income model. That when people participate in an economic system, there needs to be fair exchange of value. Okay, and that exchange of value has to do with compensating either their time, their effort, giving them more knowledge so that they can apply that knowledge in self-advancement in some other areas, so they become more knowledgeable in the space that they are in, and they can really become a better person, become a more refined person. When I say better person, I don't mean that people are bad, they're not. But please look at that within the context of a diamond. So you get a diamond in the rough, and it's rough. We all know it's a diamond in the rough. Any of us can pick it up and put it straight in the bin. But hey, I mean, that's valuable stuff. But it only becomes valuable through this whole concept of polishing and refinement. Polishing and refinement. So it needs to be polished. All the edges needs to be polished. All the surfaces and faces need to be polished so that it comes out as that gorgeous, beautiful gem that everybody wants. And so as part of this community, I think one of the things that should bind us and draw us together all the time is not just the vision in terms of what we think we should be heading collectively as a community, but also the opportunity for us to achieve some degree of polishing in our various spaces, in our various pursuits. We should never underestimate that. And I say this because I'll tell you a story. I had a chance meeting once with somebody, and it was, I mean, I've never seen that person again. We met once. He was traveling from the United States. He was supposed to stop in London. He said he has no time, that we should meet at the airport, near the airport where he was stopping for a rest. So we drove, my colleague and I, and we drove all the way to Heathrow, and we met him. We sat down, we had coffee. He said something that I would never forget. I mean, I've never seen him again. And he said, look, people meet for a reason, and that it is through the actions of your meeting and the actions that you take after your meeting and engagement that you begin to unravel the reason for the meeting. That, you know, the universe is organized in a particular way, and that there is nothing that happens out of chance. That there is some degree of order in the chaos that we see around us. I was very fascinated by that, but I've never forgotten it to this day. And so, but you can take a look at that in multiple ways and say, well, does that mean I listen to everybody around me and take the opportunity to learn something from them, even though I may know something already in some space? Okay, maybe that's one way of looking at it. But, you know, it's just reflection. So the points that Brother B is highlighting, they are very thought-provoking, and I hope that they should, because they should get us to sit and think and reflect and say, but okay, so what do we do next, and how do we do that, right? Anyway, I have probably digressed a lot in making that point to reemphasize the point that Brother B made. But so what that means is that draws me to the point that there is a certain level of education that we need to embark on as a community, and we need to make it in such a way that it is scalable. How many times have we come during these daily meetings and one of our community members has asked a question, and the answer to that question has been given by another member of the community who understands the problem, has knowledge, sufficient knowledge about it to share, that can impact somebody else in a positive way so that they walk away knowing what to do the next time. Many times. And so that person that is imparting that knowledge obviously has invested some time in understanding that particular area, in understanding that particular topic. And so we need to ask ourselves, if we are potentially a community of 1.3 billion people, what can we do to leverage on that multiple times to create value for those people who are taking the action to understand particular areas and develop their knowledge and understanding in those particular areas that can inform others and guide others to making better decisions when they are faced with the opportunity to make those decisions. What that means is that the kind of training, the kind of learning that we have when we meet like this on a daily basis, we need to multiply that 1 billion times. I mean, how many of us are here? 30. We have 1.3 billion people across the continent, and another 600 million or 500 or 400 to 600 million in the diaspora. So we're talking, if you think in terms of social or prosumer concept that Brother B is talking about, and you think in terms of the fact that people would take a product to a market in order to sell it and get value out of it, then we have a big market. And so how can we change the dynamics within that community to start creating value and opportunities for people within that community, by people within that community, in a sustained and meaningful manner, going well into the future? I think we need to be asking these hard questions. It's not enough to just consume and just be satisfied with that. It's not enough to earn $100 in the morning and spend all of it in the evening. That's not enough. It can't be enough. I'll tell you another story. I was driving my son to school this morning, and we were chatting. We're having a conversation. He's in his A-level year, preparing to go to university. He said he wanted to write his mission statement. He produced a brilliant one. I mean, if somebody had given it to me and said, read it, he says from your son, I would have said, oh no, maybe you know, it's not quite him, but he's a brilliant mind in his respect. But it was a good piece of work. And then this morning he said, you know, but Dad, you know, sometimes not everybody gets the same opportunity. I said, yeah, that's right, but maybe we can take a look at it. We can look at that particular concept in a different way and say opportunity is always around us. The question is, are you trained? Are you prepared? Can you see it? And when it comes, are you ready for it? That's actually a more fundamental question. Because when they say when God gives you a lemon, make lemonade, we need to apply some meaning to that. What that means is that if you find yourself in a situation where lemonade or lemons is all you have, then think of making lemonade out of it. Don't think and say, well, I mean, I should have had oranges, or I should have had mangoes, or I should have had this. I mean, we can all complain about all those things. But the important thing is that we need to be prepared so that when the opportunity comes, we can, one, recognize it, and we should be willing and able to make the sacrifices that it takes to get involved with the action that can lead to that opportunity being unlocked. Because if you take no action, the opportunity can sit in the same room with you for a year. And you and I know, without a doubt, if you think in normal terms, what is expected, we can all reasonably agree here that if you sit in the same room with an opportunity and you take no action to unlock it, that nothing will happen after a year. Nothing. In fact, you might walk out of that room looking into another room to see if you can find opportunity, forgetting that it's right there in the same room with you. Maybe you didn't even have the eyes to see it. And so, and we're not saying that we have the answers, but we're saying that let's reflect, let's think, let's step back and let's think, let's educate one another and enlarge our minds in multiple ways. But So that is the source of this social income model. And I can tell you it is sophisticated in its construction. It is real, it works. Okay, we can throw a farm of servers around this thing and it can just churn away and do what it's supposed to do. And people would be earning and doing what they need to do. So how can we make that work? How can we unlock it? How can we get the benefit of that potential to its fullest? We need to be asking those questions and say, but okay, this looks like an opportunity. How can we unlock it? How can we do something about it so that we can bring it home? It's a bit like, going hunting. You need to come back with some game. What do you come back with? How do we do that? How do we do that as a community to make sure we can come back with some game? Anyway, I'm going to stop ranting there. I wanted to show you very quickly some of the tools that I'm going to share my screen very quickly, and I'm not going to dwell too much on it. It wouldn't be about that because we all understand this model now. And remember, this is a specific case of just one person having access to 4 people. And one of the things we need to ask is, okay, next time I come to this daily briefing, I think by looking at this model and looking at the numbers on the spreadsheet, one thing was very clear. And what was clear is that you can't rely on this and generate all your income from these green dots, which are the 4 people that you are able to onboard. But you should be focusing on growing a network and relying on generating substantial income from these very countless little green dots that looks like little specks of dust particles when you zoom in. And they would look even more like tiny specks of particles if we were not looking at just 4 nodes and we were looking at 10 nodes or 100 nodes or 1,000 nodes. Okay, and that's the marvel. That is the marvel. So how can it count? I think that question is really with us, but the model is there. So next time we come to these sessions, bring 2 people. If you want to go and replicate this model, we can talk about it ourselves. Bring 4 people. Make sure you bring 4 people. Sooner or later, of course, we will run out of capacity, but onboard those 4 people, bring them to these sessions, get them to be adequately trained and to understand that they are now part of a network that can create value for them and for others, so that they can go and bring another 4 that they will onboard under them. Don't hog everybody yourself. That's not the strategy. That doesn't yield the value that we need. But people need to be informed and educated about how they can go about doing what they need to go about doing what they need to do. So I'm going to go into Connect. I'm going to show you very quickly. We have added just in the last few days this idea that we have training programs. Every now and then you hear that there is a training session regarding the country structures for Senegal. There's one for Nigeria. There's one for South Africa. And people are asking, but when is it? When can I attend? I missed the last one and so forth. The idea is that we should be able to have the body of knowledge right here within Connect, so that at the click of a button, nobody can miss out on anything. But this is more fundamentally important for something else. This is just work in progress. And over the next few days, we will populate content and provide different courses. But this is the opportunity. The opportunity here is that amongst us, and I'm not saying amongst us here, the 30 on this call. Remember, we are 1.3 billion strong. And amongst us, we have some of the experts on different topics around the world. Imagine harnessing some of that energy and creating some content that is very well thought out, that others can benefit from. And it doesn't have to be free. It could be for the price, so that people who want to access that body of knowledge can pay a small price for it, and they can access it. And so we are leveraging on the numbers. And so every one of us is then capable of being a producer. And I've said it, sometimes we come here, some members ask questions, those answers are given by members of the community that have made the extra effort to improve their knowledge in a particular area. They can actually share that knowledge. They can produce that knowledge and package it in a form that others can consume, that others can benefit from, so that we can make this whole income, social income model, this idea, really gain root and bear fruit for everybody, not just now, but well into the future. Okay, so we've created this link. Keep an eye on it. At the very top of the screen, you will see, if I can, I hope you can all see my screen. If I can make it bigger. So at the top of the screen, these have been reordered. The menus here have been reordered a little bit. And I'll tell you why. Just like Sister Lumba said that, those important words of that we went through yesterday about inclusive value exchange with decorum. And she came up with the acronym of VIEW, that if you reordered them, you get VIEW, and that we all need to take a view on things. And that position needs to be firm. It shouldn't change from hour to hour or day to day, or it shouldn't change depending on the person we are talking with. That was a lesson from Nelson Mandela. So we need to be organizing our thoughts in a meaningful way that we can use to tell a story, or that we can use to impart that knowledge on somebody else. So this is an example. Here, I am going to complete this hopefully before the end of tomorrow. Hopefully, I can present all of it at our next session. So this is a SWIFT registration process, and many people have been asking. We have many applications. Where do I start? Which one should I do first? What should I do next? And I'm saying, get your mailbox, connect your account, and transact with others. Okay, get your mailbox, connect your account and transact with others. That's the idea. Mailbox is really the place where you receive that personal information, your activation for your email, for your account, your lost password. That's where you need to receive it into. That is important. That's like the key to your door. That's the key to your accounts. That's the key to transact, the key to account, the key to connect. So that is important. So if that is important, why put up with the fact that the Yahoo mailbox that you have is rejecting messages and those messages are not being delivered? Why put up with the fact that Hotmail is blocking that message? And even though you have your valid and genuine Hotmail account, that you can't receive a message or communication into it because Hotmail has decided that they want to block it without consultation with you. So that is impairing your ability to access all these other services from within this community with this robust income model, social income model that we are putting in place. So that's important. That's important. So, and I'm saying get your SWIFT mailbox, because by that single action, all the complaints that we get, and there isn't a time that we meet like this where somebody doesn't say that, well, I have registered somebody and we haven't received the email. I have done a password request and we haven't got it. Okay, if we don't take action and do something about it, we will keep getting these questions every time we meet every day. But the thing we need to ask ourselves is that really the big question we need to be addressing every day? And I'm not minimizing it. I'm not saying that it's not important. But all I'm saying is that unless we take action and do things differently, that question will not go away. But we need testimony from somebody who has a SWIFT mailbox, who has said that I have reset my password and I haven't received it. We wouldn't be blocking messages to our own services. And remember that not everybody might like what we are doing. So some people might decide to block it just to give that sense of poor quality of service. So it doesn't work. You get your when you reset your password, you never get it, and they block emails. Now, to the user, you will not see that. We see that because we've asked our system to tell us every time that they have tried to deliver a message and it hasn't got there. So we know, we have the data, we have the results, we have the numbers. And so we are saying, fix the problem, take action. Take your mailbox, connect your account, and transact with others. That is the registration process. That is what would make sense, because nothing would be on your way. And remember, if you have an opportunity to register somebody now, and that person is sitting in front of you, like that guy that I met at the airport and I've never seen again, but who could have gone on and be so influential and being part of my social income network, even though I don't really get to see him and may never really see him again. I have lost an opportunity. So the only thing that can change that is the action we take, the immediate action we take. And so we are introducing this course tool. If you to sign up for it, so like I said, if you click on courses, you may get a list. We're still working on how it looks, but you may get a list like this. You would click on it, and here the summary on this Swift registration process is: get your mailbox, connect account, and transact with others. That's the idea. And this is the steps that you need to take. This is the order in which you need to do this for you to have an interrupted access, an uninterrupted access. Your mailbox that works, that is powered by Swift, where even if you lose your password, we can still make you gain access to it. You connect your account, which brings you part of the community. Your account is the engine that holds that social income model that we have put in place. We've demonstrated it to you. You can see it every day yourself with the T1s, the T2s, and T3s flowing in. When we start touching fiat, it will be the same. And then there is Transact, which enables you to use your Lumi from your account in with complete local currency experience wherever you are. These are the tools. These are the tools that we believe that could begin that opportunity of unlocking tremendous value as part of this community going forward. So whenever you see a course like this, and there'll be many, and we encourage people in the community with knowledge and expertise in different areas to come in here and create content for everybody to educate themselves and be informed by it. If you want, you can click on this and it will then take you to the particular course. It was working just fine just a few minutes ago. Okay, so it will take you there. And here you can take the course. I left it like this. This one, of course, is free. If it is one that is paid, then there'll be a price there. You can click on take course, and it should then, at the click of a button, give you the opportunity to access the content that you need to access. It says expand all. I can go and I can just go into this one. And these are the topics that I need to look at. Why is email important? There is text, which is here, which you can read, and so forth. And will give you an explanation at every step. Okay, so email delivery issues, why is it important, and so forth. What is telling me? Please go back and complete the previous topic. Okay, so this has been set up in such a way that it's actually in sequence. It forces you to go through it in sequence to complete the topic and then move on to the next one. So I'm going to go back. There is no skipping here, I'm afraid, right? So if I say I've read all this and I can complete that, it can track my progress as I go through it and so forth. And towards the end, there will be a quiz, okay? I'm not going to go through it now because I've spent a lot of time talking. If I just click on go back and go to the mailbox or the actual topic itself, you'll see that here there'll be a quiz, okay? I don't think it will allow me to take the quiz now because I haven't finished the learning that is associated with it. So that's why it's telling me, please go back and complete the previous topics. and then there'll be a quiz at the end. If you do the quiz at the end, it will be scored, and you can then be rated and ranked, and that will give you the opportunity perhaps to start participating in some other capacities that we've talked about before, such as becoming a community trader. So if there was a particular course for that, then this is how you would be expected to engage with it. But what I'm saying is, this is a tool that we've introduced in order to make sure that people are adequately prepared to gather that knowledge and synthesize that knowledge in a way that can enable them to serve other members of the community. But if you are an expert in a particular area, then this tool is open for you to come and bring your body of knowledge and create small, short courses that other people can register for, that you can decide that you want to make available to people completely free, or you can put a price tag on it that people can pay, either in Lumi or a combination of Lumi and fiat, and the choice will completely be yours. So let's leverage on that model. Let's leverage on the tools that we have, and let's make it count for us and for others in future, but let it be meaningfully impactful to people, right? So, Brother B, I think I've taken far more time than I should have, but I'm going to stop now and then give it back to you. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Maybe before I do that, there's something I said I was going to say yesterday, which I didn't, and that was the community being self-regulating. And I was going to show how if you don't like a particular content, you can vote for that content to be removed. And with 3 reports, the content comes off automatically. Okay, so if you go to, if you go to Connect and you go to post and share, if it allows me to go there,
post and share
at this particular point in time. So if, for example, you feel that this particular post, I'll make my screen smaller. This particular picture is a post that is offensive to you. I mean, this one is not, but I'm just going to show you where you go. So you will click on these 3 dots on the top right on that particular post, and you will click on report. Okay. When you repost, you are resharing it. Click on report. Now, the reason it is based on 3 strikes and out. 3 strikes and out. So if a post gets reported 3 times by any community members, the post automatically comes off display. Okay. Now, the idea behind that is that if I log in as an individual and I go in, I could perhaps make a mistake on my mobile phone, particularly if I want to repost this particular content to share it, I could mistakenly click on report instead. And that's a mistake. That's a genuine mistake. So the system will ignore that. But if somebody else happens to stumble across exactly the same post and does the same thing, then you say, well, it could be another mistake. System might just take note of it. Well, I mean, we have 2 reports now. But the moment a 3rd person does the same thing, the post has to come off. And none of the leaders have to intervene. Nobody has to intervene for that to take effect. It just takes effect. The reason we want to do that is that if we have 1 million people, or 2 million, or 3 million, you multiply that by 2, that's the number of eyes we have looking at every post. So every second, everything that somebody posts, somebody else will see it. And if it is offensive to you, then it is offensive, period. Report it. And hopefully it can then come off automatically upon 2 other votes being applied to it. I just thought I mentioned that because it's a very important point about self-regulation. Remember, this was set up after a significant level of reflection in terms of how can we create a social income ecosystem that rewards people. So this is very much about impactful change. It's very much about transformation. It's very much about empowerment. It's not about being abusive to anyone. It's not about being offensive to anybody. It's not about using language that you wouldn't use in front of your children or in front of your parents. So let's act in complete decorum, and hence the idea that this is about inclusive value exchange with decorum. Inclusive value exchange with decorum. Let certain sort of unwritten principles and innate principles that are built into every one of us, let them be our guiding, our guide on how we interact and how we create opportunities for others. I always say that if you're walking down the street near a building site and somebody throws a brick from the top and there is somebody walking in front of you and you see that that brick is going to land on their head, the normal thing for every human being to do would be the innate reaction for safety of another human being. If you have to jump and get them out of the way, you will do that. If you have to scream so they are aware of the danger, you will do that. You will do the right thing. So there is this innate thing inside every one of us to do right. And people are generally good. It's just certain circumstances sometimes can come in and distort that vision. But let's build on it. Let's build on it. Let's make it count. Let's make it work. Okay? Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dr. Linus.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. I think just to bring this, the last point into context, we are a community and there are certain principles, there are certain, values that we uphold. And, part of that is decency, right? And, all I can say is that we were working on something and the platform itself got flagged because someone had posted nudes on the platform. And if we say we uphold certain values, that should not go past any member of this community, right? Because, the kind of values we uphold, do not allow for a social environment like this for indecency to prevail. I think that's where we would end that. So the 3 strikes is actually a way for every one of us to keep an eye out on the platform to make sure that the decorum that we adhere to is maintained across the platform. Because at every given time, there are hundreds and thousands of people who are on the platform. So somebody is definitely going to see it. And when we see it, and it's not decent, it's not unacceptable, it's not something that is acceptable for our community, it should be, there should be some strikes on it so that it gets off the platform. That's the first thing. The second thing I want to just bring into sharp focus still falls within the social economics, the social income model, and the element of every one of us becoming a producer, a distributor, and a consumer. I'm a devout Christian, right? And there is a part of the good text where God asks one of his people, what do you have in your hands? And I'm asking each and every one of us in the room today, in the house today, what do you have in your hands? Whatever you have in your hands is valuable. We just need to find the value for what you have in your hands. It's valuable for you. It's valuable for the millions and millions of people on the continent and in the diaspora. So we need to access that value that each and every one of us are holding in our hands. So those are the two things that I just thought I should, in wrapping up what Dr. Linus has been speaking about, to tie up what I spoke about before. If there are any questions or anybody wants to raise any observations, this is the time. We'll probably just have about 10-15 minutes because we've gone quite extensively. We've extended our stay this evening quite extensively. I mean, so who are those who are on? The first person who came on was Abubakar. He had his hand up before we even started. You have the floor. Abubakar Ahmad, your mic is closed and you have the floor. Okay. While he's sorting himself out, I see Jude Ayo is also just raised his hand.
Good evening.
Good evening, brother.
Hi. I just want to thank you for the wonderful presentation we made today. And my question is that, are we going to be issue a certificate about this training, or for just for us to understand?
Yes. There will be certificates of participation. Just to give you a bit of a forward thought, we are actually thinking of really qualifications that we can have as courses on the platform going into the future. So there will be certificates of participation for some, and then we're looking at even going extensively on the training too. But watch the space. Every course, for the reason why you see on the course, it doesn't want you to skip any of the steps or any of the modules, is because at the end there is a quiz, and then there will be certificates of participation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
For all that attend the meeting, or just only for agents?
So everyone who goes onto the platform, the last platform that Linus just showed, you go on to connect, just next to transact, you see courses. Anyone who goes in there and takes a specific course, the course would be outlined for you to be eligible to take it. So there are certain conditions that will be outlined for every course.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Abubakar, are you there? Okay, if Abubakar is not there, we'll take Paul.
Okay, good evening, every leader in the house and the audience.
Good evening, my brother. How are you?
I'm fine, sir. First of all, I want to thank you for this lot of work that you people are doing in the house. It's so grateful. Now it's not a question, but a kind of application. As I can see, we are trying a lot to generate a way for the people in the Africa and the diaspora. It's a wonderful opportunity given to the youth for that kind of participation on those courses. Could you imagine if you people are not doing it like that? They are hide your talent, and I'm so proud about it. This Lumi project, because the work you people are doing is giving our futures. So I just want to thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Brother B, are you there?
Yeah, he had some things going on in the background, so that's why I'm muting. But Dr. Linus, please go ahead.
Yes, I think we can just take the next questions. I can see 3 people with their hands. Sister Pauline, you can just step in and.
Yeah.
Okay, Brother B is back, is it?
Yeah, Brother B, I do apologize. I just muted you because there was some things going on in your background. So that was the reason why.
Oh, okay. I dropped my pen. And I was trying to grab it.
Oh, it sounded like some pots and pans were going there. So I do apologize. That was the only reason why.
Yeah, I dropped my pen and I was trying to ask to get it, but it's fine. Okay, Abraham Joseph.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, brother. How are you?
Fine, thank you, sir. I just want to comment on you people's efforts and also show this appreciation on behalf of the entire agent team in Nigeria, and also remind the House concerning the training of Nigeria, because most of the agents in Nigeria, which consist those ones that are under the NAF NFC, as long they've known that responsibility has been saddled onto me by our executive secretary, Dr. Prince, in respect to training. So most of them are laying complaint because for some couple of weeks now, no attention has been given to the agents in Nigeria.
Okay, can I just step in there?
All right, sir.
Nigeria has not had their training Tuesday and today, because last week Thursday I was in the room for 30 minutes on Thursday and no one came. On Tuesday as well, last week, I was in the room and no one came. And I've spoken to all the other leaders in Nigeria, and we are having a meeting tomorrow morning to restructure the training for Nigeria, because it looks as if there was a misunderstanding in terms of timing. And I've sat,
yes, sir.
I sat twice last week for 30 minutes in the room and no one came. And I was very surprised because the training is always full, like full. But for those last 2 days, there was no one. And then in this
week, it's the timing, sir.
So I've spoken to a few of the leaders today, and we are going to have a meeting tomorrow to agree on the final phases of the training for Nigeria to complete it, because Nigeria now is actually at the completion phase for the trainings and the setup.
Okay.
So after that meeting tomorrow, from Monday next week, we are going to just push and complete the training for Nigeria. The idea is probably to take three days, 1 hour, 30 minutes, 2 hours, and just go through all the training for all the agents and make sure that everyone attends, so that we can complete it before people go on Christmas.
Okay.
Yes.
What time? Sorry, sir. What time tomorrow morning?
No, I will communicate with you guys tomorrow because I
Okay.
need to get the schedule for our electricity before I can confirm time.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, yes. You're welcome. Milk and Jerry. Your microphone is closed. Milka. Okay. So I see that Milka's microphone is not opening. Abubakar's microphone is not opening. I'm not sure if Jude Ayo is coming back or it's still the hand from before.
It's another question that I'm having.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Okay, it's about that in Nigeria meeting. I'm also in Nigeria, but I can't even attend the meeting any days. I didn't know the link that they used to join the meeting. That is why.
Oh, okay. So the leaders were in Nigeria.
Hello?
Which state are you in Nigeria?
Benue State.
Or you are in Benue?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to get the leader for Benue to connect with you once we have agreed on the details tomorrow in the morning.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, you're welcome.
All right.
Yeah. Is there anyone who wants to raise something for the leaders before we wrap it up?
Just a quick one for me, Brother B. Just to remind people, as you are doing your requests for your AKL transfers and your KYC, please just be careful to make sure your information is correct. Your names must be exactly as what is written on your national ID. Please upload your photos in your Connect, your Transact, and your Swifin profiles. It's so important to put your actual face. Please don't put your favorite car or your daughter's picture or a picture of your cat or your dog. Please, we want to see your face and see that it marries and matches with every other profile that you have uploaded. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sister Lumba. Thank you so much. Yeah. So is there anyone, any of the leaders in the house who has something to raise before we close? In the absence of that, Brother Patrick, I see your mic is open.
No, actually, I want to say, me, I'm all right. Thank you, say.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Dr. Linus?
Can I just say something very quickly, Brother Ambi?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Sister Pauline.
Thank you. In our meetings, I think it was yesterday, or it could have been Tuesday, a number of our brothers and sisters were asking questions as to how long does the transactions take, the transacts take to be approved. I just wanted to explain what happened to me yesterday very quickly. I did about nearly 70 people yesterday, and 3/4 of those did not actually link their Connect account. They typed it in, but it was going nowhere. It was something that Brother Ella had alluded to yesterday. Please ensure that your link is correct And if your ID, birth certificate, I don't know, Brother Ambi, if you can confirm this, Brother Linus, some of the persons were sending in birth certificates instead of IDs with their photos on them. Now, is that acceptable, yes or no?
For KYC?
Yeah. Because it's my understanding it should be an ID with your face.
Yeah, it has to have, you know, birth certificates really do not work.
Right.
Voter's card, temporary IDs, driver's license, passport. We have, you know, in some cases, you know, in the previous platform, Dr. Linus, if you remember, we even saw some people putting up their baptism cards.
Yes, and school,
right?
And school reports.
People put up their baptism cards. In some countries, the baptism cards are actually solid records because you can track it, you can trace it with the church that they were baptized in, and it has their picture, it has all the details that you would have on a regular ID with a number. But it's actually preferable to use your ID, voter's card, driver's license, and things like that.
Thank you. The reason why I brought it up here is because number of persons that are currently on board. If you hear or you see anyone or anyone is asking you to assist them, please, and I think I mentioned it yesterday, if you cannot see your face in your photograph that you have on your system, then we cannot see.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, so I'm just asking if you could please be mindful. I think Sister Lumba even said yesterday that we don't want to refuse or reject applications, but we don't want to either be putting the incorrect information or approving the wrong account because certain things are not right. So I'm asking you as our community to help us, that we can do and go through this much, much quicker just by doing things proficiently and professionally as the people that we are. And I just wanted to put that over to you. Please be mindful. And as Sister Lumba said, your profile pictures on all your accounts will help. And those of you who have pet names, and I'm just using this as an example, if your pet name is Blessing, and you've opened your Connect account in Blessing, and your ID is Pauline Martin, has nothing to do with Blessing, it is an automatic rejection. Now, the thing is, each of the people that are on the persons that are doing the transact, we have to go through every single thing. So because it wasn't done correctly, we have lost that time. And time is important, like Dr. Lyons was saying, and it's also a scarcity, because it doesn't matter what you have, you only have 24 hours in the day, and you try to do as much as you can in that day. So let us be proficient at what we do. So we're not using that time going through details because someone did not take the time to ensure that the applications was completed successfully. And I think I mentioned it yesterday, that when we went over to the new platform, not all your information was brought over. Okay, so I entrust everyone, whether you've done it already or not. If you have, thank you. If you have not checked it, please go in and check your Swifting profile, because a lot of people are on the automatic assumptions when they were brought over to the new platform, all their details came along with it. It did not. So please, each and everyone, go into your profile. Please complete your profile picture on your Swifting account. Okay, and please ensure you upload your photo, and please, if it's possible, use the same photo for each account. It makes it easier to match you up. Thank you very much. I just want to thank everyone for being here today and taking on the wonderful knowledge that's always been imparted to us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sister Pauline. Dr. Linus, I think that's the end of it.
Yes, thank you. I've just seen a
That's the
message
end
here
of it.
which I need to comment on, and that our sister Emma saying that the local council officers in Kenya asked her to pay a fine because she was selling her food in Lumi. I mean, is Emma there? Sister Emma is here. I can see her name.
I'm here, Dr. Linus. Hello.
Yes, hello. So this is a very sad situation, isn't it? It's really very sad, and this is why if somebody was hungry and came to your restaurant and you gave them food completely for free and took nothing in return and they walked away, nobody would come and arrest you for selling your food for free. If you sold your food to somebody and you took a bunch of bananas in exchange for it, nobody would come and say, but you've just sold food to a farmer and taken a bunch of bananas in exchange for it. So part of what is happening, and we are seeing this increasingly across the continent, is that out of ignorance, people are taking things into their hands and acting illegally and oppressing other fellow human beings and citizens on the back of upholding the law. It is wrong, and whereas it is there and we know it's happening, we can only really avoid it through education, and informing the community and people that it is not right. It cannot be right.
Not at all. Not at all.
And yesterday we had the conversation about what is normally expected, what is standard, because I'm pretty sure if Sister Emma had gone and used and accepted a payment in Bitcoin or whatever, or any other digital asset, or even gave the food away for free, nobody would come and terrorize and intimidate her for that act. And so by exchanging it in Lumi, you then see that if you put that side by side, giving the food free and accepting Lumi in exchange for the food, it cannot be wrong that she's made the choice to accept Lumi.
Can't be wrong.
Yes, they told me that they told me that Lumi is not illegalized in Kenya.
But Lumi is actually the currency for the economic community of the African diaspora, and we are actually having conversations with some of the biggest regulated institutions on the continent that are regulated by various central banks. And we are telling them that it's Lumi or nothing. If you want to work with us, we are in the position where we have a community, and our common standard and our benchmark for exchanging value within that community, first and foremost, is Lumi. We would engage you when it comes to working with the local currencies in your country. But the common benchmark within our community is Lumi. So I think there is a lot of education that we still need to embark on as a community collectively. And sadly, I would call this incident a rogue incident where somebody has really taken things into their own hands and decided to intimidate somebody. And it's a case where those in positions of authority that are supposed to be upholding the rights of individuals to live a decent life and to aspire to do the things they want to do are trampled upon because they are not themselves in positions of power and authority. We need to drum that message.
We need to. We need to. It's a really, really sad happening.
It's very sad.
We are not going. We are not going to be pushed around, especially when we know that it's not illegal. What Sister Emma is doing or what we are doing. There's nothing illegal in it. And I'm actually suspecting that those people would have taken the money for themselves.
Of course they took it for themselves. You think they would give it to the Kenyan government? That's stealing. It's not fair exchange because they've taken money
No.
in return for nothing else.
You know, it's sad, very sad.
Dr. Linus,
Yes,
can I ask you something?
yes.
If I will continue accepting room, is it a must that I go and receive that license which they are demanding?
Which license?
Which license?
Which license did they say?
And are they ask them to give you the license? What authority do they have to issue a license on the Lumi?
Because that's what they told me, that the signboard I wrote there, I must handle with it with the license.
With their license.
Oh, so they want you to come to the council and they would issue a license for you to put it up?
Even I don't know there. I was just confused.
It might be worth checking. And Sister Emma, I would personally be prepared to have a conversation with your council authorities in Kenya if you were ever in a position where you're going to make that possible. And I'm not, Brother Elad is not on the call. Brother Elad?
I'm on the call now.
Okay, I mean, these are things we need to intervene on.
Absolutely. I'm just hearing it now. You do not picked it up. I was not aware. But what I think, I would love, like you indicating, I would love to engage the authorities. We'll try and facilitate Sister Emma that she be with them and the originator call and engage them. Then probably you and me, we can talk to them. Yeah. Because basically, I don't understand how a community, a group of people with a common understanding coming together, because this is like having a group of people who decide to say we can exchange plates as a way of transacting amongst ourselves, and then you get punished for exchanging plates.
Even I tried to call you, Brother Elad. I
Yes.
tried to call you, but they take out my phone.
Is it?
You see, the first thing is they are not supposed to do that.
That's even criminal. They've got no
That's
right
criminal
whatsoever to take your phone. Let's see what we can do tomorrow. Okay. Let's engage tomorrow. Let's see what we can do tomorrow. I will try also to call you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll try to call you and also raise Dr. Linus. We get to the bottom of the matter.
Yeah.
All right.
If you can arrange that, that'll be fantastic. Let's have a conversation with them. There is a education.
Absolutely.
And on that note, I would like to draw your attention to a parallel. I always say this story that when I was growing up as a little boy in a village where the majority of people had never seen or traveled in an aeroplane before, if you had pointed to the skies and said that is an aeroplane, is carrying 500 people and traveling at more than 500 miles per hour at ground speed, they would have told you that you are completely nuts, that the only things that fly in the sky are birds. So let's remember that there are people amongst us within our communities in continental Africa for whom we need to take the opportunity and exercise the patience to train and educate them and perhaps undo the kind of brainwashing that has gone on to the majority of our peers for so long, in order to undo the damage of that prolonged period of brainwashing so that people can stand on their own 2 feet and think and reason in a standard and open way. That's the only way that we get to that place where you can rightly point to the aeroplane in the sky and somebody would believe you and say, well, yeah, it is an aeroplane because I know about it. I've seen it before. It can carry 500 people. The reason it looks small is because it's so far up in the sky, but on ground it's quite big. So let's think like that, and let's never see actions that have been conducted by uninformed individuals perpetrating abuse in the way that we have been told with Sister Emma, be the guideline for whether what we are doing is right or wrong. After all, in Kenya, there are many who are excluded, and we know that that is not right. And we are in a community gathered to drive inclusive exchange of value with decorum. And clearly, that was not with decorum, seizing somebody's phone and intimidating them for making a choice within their own business to exchange value as they chose to.
You know, as we end, I saw a post today which made me laugh. Well, not laugh, because it's something that it's a thought that's always been in my mind. The post read, Noah did not stop building the ark to explain himself to everyone who doubted and hated on him. Keep building your ark. The rain will do the talking. So on that note, I would want to bid every one of you a good night.
Brother B, can I just...
Brother B, before we say good night, I just want to make a noble contribution to this, because this really is, I'm actually hating as I sit here, because I never fathomed that a thing of that nature could happen. But nevertheless, I sense, and it with no doubt in my mind, that this can only be a happening because of a third force. And it's prudent that when we get down to the matter, we identify the third force who has instigated and started all this against Sister Emma, because there's nothing that she's doing that is illegal. By making a decision to accept Lumi as a year on preferred mode of payment for her goods and services that she's supplying. So we'll get to the bottom of it, like I indicated, but I sense outrightly that there is a hand, or some members amongst us, or somebody who became jealous, or somebody who felt that they want to do her business down. But we'll get back to the bottom of it. We are not here to instigate one against the other, but we are trying to identify why that is happening and find a solution. This is a mere conflict that can be resolved. If it's us against the state, then we establish our standing position with those regulatory arms of municipalities or the state. Then we find each other and we move forward, so that she can conduct a business without any hindrance or intimidation. Yeah. I think Brother Patrick can come in.
Thank you. I just wanted to draw Dr. Linus' attention to something. Say, I have sent you a direct message. There is a client who says he transferred over 100 AKX from Connect to his Swifin account, but the balance has not appeared in the Swifin account. If you may check the direct message that I sent you, say. Thank you.
I will have a look. There is one transaction that has not been settled, and that particular account has transferred not one time 100 AKX, not two times, but perhaps multiple times. And I'm scratching my head, hoping that they would reach out and tell us how they managed to accumulate such amount of AKX to transfer.
It could be the one, say. May you please check the direct
I will check
message.
and I will check and I'll respond. But I can confirm to you quite clearly that there is one transaction that is pending because it has a question mark.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
All right.
MP, can I just quickly, before you partake, just want to remind everyone, tomorrow being Friday, The class was, the briefing will start at 7 o'clock. Am I correct, Brother Ambi?
Exactly.
7 o'clock?
Exactly.
7 o'clock South Africa time. As
GMT plus 2.
Okay, thank you. Just if you like, there's 31 here. If one person just brings one, then we've got 60. Then we have 62 people on. You know? And then
good.
you know.
Let's start. That's a good point. Let's start putting that model into practice. Before you can bring at least 1 or 2 other people that you've registered new.
Yeah.
Okay. And when we meet, the person who brings the highest number of people will get a prize on the day.
Our Dr. Linus is adventurous. Dr. Linus is saying bring 2. I'm just saying bring 1.
Oh, right. Okay.
We start small, we creep, and then we creep, we walk, and then we run. Huh?
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
so just bring 1. That would be 62 people. And you can imagine, I think Brother Ambi was talking about his mango tree. Could you imagine our mango tree within a few days? Oh my gosh. All right. So what I'm saying is tomorrow class is at 7 o'clock South Africa time plus 2 GMT. Find just one person to bring or invite. You don't bring them, you can invite them so that they can hear, they can learn, they can be edified along with the rest of us. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that one person could also be somebody who needs to reactivate. For example, I saw someone post a message that today is their first day of attending and that they were going to be at the meeting till the end. It looks like the person is in South Africa and that they have not connected for about a year. So they must have been informed by someone. For some reason, I can't see the message anymore. And it looks as if the person left their number. It will be good to connect with them and try and help them and guide them. But I can't see the message anymore on my side. The first message I can see on my side is from Sister Lumba, Brilliant Courses. The rest of the messages above that I can't see. I don't know why. Right. So, all right. So have a good evening, everyone, and let's connect again tomorrow.
Super. Thank you very much and good night.
It's been fun.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Everybody.